Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego. Review those amazing bricks and plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifigure ghost, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? We have an episode here. We're going to talk about a Lego set. We're going to pick it apart, and we're going to play with it and all its usefulness, because that's what's important, right? We need to know, does it work? Does it not? Does it play well? Does it not? Is it fun? Is it not? Is the build okay? Is it not? Because for you to sink money into it, you need to know. So I'm glad you're here. Let's go ahead and dive in. The set we're going to be talking about today is on the Technic side of the realm, which I know a lot of you are like, Technic? What blasphemy is this? Well, this blasphemy it's okay. It is. It's not okay in a bad way. It's fine. You know, it's good. It's not bad. And the set number is 42144. It is referenced as a material handler. So you could be handling all kinds of different material. Maybe sod, maybe brick, maybe stone, maybe wood, maybe drywall, maybe all the things that might make up a house and studio. Perhaps, maybe. Anyway, here's the kicker. If you want this puppy right now, it has 835 pieces. Oh, that's not that bad. I like 100 or 835 pieces, but I think I could do $100. Yeah, totally. Wrong. How much you want to pay for this? You want it free, right? Of course you want it free. Okay. So let's say you had to spend $100. Would you spend $100 on it? We'll come back at it, at the end of the show. We'll decide. Or I will give you the option to decide based on what you hear. Is it worth that value? But what it is going to retail for is 150 US and 120 euro. Now, that is a big bump. It's a big bump. 150 big bucks for a 800 plus piece set. All right. Look, there are things we need to get to. And I'm trying to be super silly about this. So let's get into it. The great thing about this set is that it is a gorgeous looking set. It has play value. It has a neat build system. I wouldn't call it unique because we have seen stuff like this before, especially with the air bladder chamber. But as a whole, I mean, it's really not that bad of a build. It's kind of fun. And, it may not be for an adult, but here's what you need to think about. If you're listening to the show right now, there are sets that come about that you're like, you know what? I would never build this. I would never build this. I would never buy that. But you might have a teen or a younger kid. When I say younger, on the older side of the threshold, preteen, they might be interested. Or you might have an adult friend that runs like a telehandler or a crane or an excavator, something similar that they might get jazzed about this. So don't discount it 100% because you aren't into it. Just give it its due diligence and put your head outside of what it could be or what it is for what it may be. So the cool thing about this is, well, aside from the fact that it is Technic, it doesn't feel very Technic-y. The many number of Technic builds I have done felt Technic-y. Now you could say, oh, well, the frame in the front is very Technic-y. Well, yeah, I can't discount that. Well, the frame of the boom and stuff is very Technic-y. Well, have you ever looked at a boom on an excavator? It's not the most pretty thing. It's really not. It's kind of hideous. So it does fit. So here's what it does have to offer. So before we get into the main build of everything and run through it. The front wheels can steer. Now, you do have the option if you decide, I don't want it just in the front. Well, you can flip the entire cab around to the back, and it's now the rear wheels that spin. So you do have that opportunity. That is completely up to you. And anybody that may be like, you know what, I need it this way. Hey, you can have it whichever way you would like. So I'm going to flip the entire housing back to the front. You do have 4 stabilizers, or stabs as they're called, which are technically moved for a gearing piece here, and they all 4 reach into the ground. You can actually lift the entire wheel assembly for all 4 wheels off the ground, so it is completely supported by them, which is kind of neat. If you so choose to not do that, and you just want them down on the ground, you can have them down on the ground where the tires are, but that is not what they are intended for in real life. They are intended to be able to stop anything from moving. Now, there are some black and white striped stickers, diagonally striped stickers on all of the legs of the stabs, because they are letting you know, hey, be careful, don't step over this, or be careful when you walk around this, don't trip on it and die, because that would be a bad thing. So you do have that. The wheels, like I said, rotate in the front. From the front of this, the intended front of it, it's just a gearing mechanism to be able to allow you to turn it. This build almost kind of reminds me of like a Brooder toy. If you're familiar with Brooder, Bruder, Brooder is a German toy manufacturer that you can find here in the U.S. My son Finn was huge into them when he was probably 6-7 years old. We had a number of them. The scale feels very similar to what that was. So as far as the toy goes, it's kind of spot on. So we have the wheels, we have the stabs. By the way, the rear wheels, they don't do anything. They just they spin, they're on the ground, they don't rotate or anything like that. But what is nice is you have a bunch of stickers on this to be able to build this thing up. It's an 865E. It's got a handler on the end of it to be able to handle all kinds of things. You could pick up a rock in it. I did pick up an actually large rock, a 2x4 sized, or 2x4 inch rock, which I don't know what the weight of it was because we didn't measure it, but it can pick it up. They're like a thick garden rock. It can pick it up, and it can lift it up, and it can release it. It's all in how you manage your air in this thing, because again, it is pneumatic. So the pneumatic build in this, you do have 2 giant pistons that are in here, one on the main boom and one on the secondary boom, that allow you to be able to A, lift it on the first boom, and B, lower it down from the elbow at the next boom, to be able to get towards the claw. We'll call it the claw. The claw. Toy Story, right? Who doesn't love Toy Story? Oh my God. I feel old now. Anyway, so you do have that, and we'll talk about how it works in a little bit, but those are really nice pieces. The tubing that is run for the pneumatics is in black across the booms and stuff like that. And then you have the light bluish gray that is used here as well through these fittings, the Technic fittings that attach to an axle that allow for the transfer of the air for the pneumatics, which is always a good thing as well. So if we spin this thing, I'm going to spin it around. We have the claw. The claw is currently open right now, and the claw has a whole giant big piece of mechanism hell. I don't know what else to call it other than mechanism hell. It has a lot of cool stuff involved with it, but at the end of the day, it is a giant build in its own right. It could be essentially a build of its own from the set. So I'm going to rotate the back end of this thing around, and what you have behind where the operator would sit is you have an operator, I guess a controller. What do you want to call it? Housing, cab, whatever you want to call it. Has some lights on the top. Has a gear shift that can go up and down here. I really need a Technic person here, Lego, like a Technic figure. we need them back. Maybe not the size they were before, but I need a Technic figure because this just looks weird. Lego minifigs do not work here. So there's a sticker on the door here that opens and closes. And again, like I said, the gear mechanism moves up and down. And then the great thing is the entire housing that you're sitting in lifts up and down. There's a gear that spins a bunch of other gears down below that, and it lifts you up to the top so you can actually see what you're working on. It gives you a vantage point. It's like, hey, you know what? I can't work 4 feet off the ground. I need to be 10 feet off the ground. I don't know what the actual scale ratio is to this, but it is one of those things like, yeah, very much so. And it has the feel of a telehandler. I don't know if telehandler is something that is copyrighted or trademarked, but material handler, telehandler, kind of the same for the most part. The only thing that this can't do is really just like crab walk. Anyway, so aside from the housing, we move towards the back. You have this giant air pump that you have. Did y'all ever have those shoes when y'all were kids, maybe, that were the Reebok or Nike? I can't remember, or both, or many others that were pump shoes, and you press the pump. You just press it over and over, like, oh, I can feel the air on my ankle, man. I'm secure now. You weren't secure. Air pockets do not secure you. If you land roughly, your ankle's gonna snap. Air ain't helping you. There's no air bladder in the world that is going to help you enough and give you the support you need. It's just a fancy feature. Anyway, so you do have this big air pump. Just keep pressing this thing. But on the back end of this thing, usually on the back of like an excavator or a telehandler or anything similar, you have a giant counterweight. And back around the counterweight area, you do have the big sticker of the 865E here, but you do have 3 switches that are used, and they do have a sticker as well. One is to be able to lift the boom up and down. One is to be able to lift the secondary boom up and down. And then one is to open and close the garbage fetcher, the claw. I will never get it, but anyway, that's what it's intended to do. So you can open, close it. I just closed the claw. I open the claw. I close the claw. I'm going to pump this puppy back up. Just give it enough air in there. Just let's do it, bro. Let's do it for once and all. Claw is open. Claw is closed. And the mechanism behind it, you would be shocked at the number of pieces alone to be able to get just that part of the claw to open and close. Your 800 plus pieces, there's probably about 150 maybe in that entire assembly that you really, really need. Anyway, so that aside, let's go ahead and move the secondary boom. The claw is closed now. The secondary boom lifts up, and I'm going to close it. And I'm going to open it back up. The thing is, it runs out of air super duper amazing fast. So I've got this thing super wide open at the top right now. I have the main boom, secondary boom. It's basically sticking straight up, and the claw is touching the secondary boom. So if I were to close the secondary boom, it's going to drop it back down to where it belongs, and it's going to do its thing. Not a big deal. It's going to hang there, but the great thing behind this is I'm going to extend it, and you hear a psh, usually when you extend it, as long as your air bladder. You have to press it a lot, by the way. It's not one of those things where like you're pumping a weed eater or a mower and you're like, 1, 2, 3, pull the cord. No, it doesn't work like that. You got to press it a lot, because the bladder can only hold so much pressure. And that's what it comes down to. It's not the volume of air. It's the pressure that you need in there. So I'm going to move this thing out of the way here, and I'm going to flip the other valve switch here. And what it does is oh, geez. Oh, my God. It hit my mixer. It almost adjusted my master volume controls because it was that intense. Anyway, so that is essentially what is going on. And the funny thing is, you can press this over and over and over. I keep pressing it. Why is it not going up? Well, you need to flip the switch because you don't have the valve closed. It went back up, and there it is. It's holding tight. You can have so much fun with this thing. Honestly, it's a cool build. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I think it's a fun little build as far as that goes. And it's just it's a technical thing. I mean, you have warning stickers on it. You have the set stickers on it for the set stickers, the model of it. You have the direction stickers on the back, which are much needed for those of you that have never done Technic before or have done Technic to this degree. You're absolutely going to love those. So as a whole, I think this is a fun set to build. The mechanical nature of it, the pneumatics, the engineering that went behind it. For me, this is something where a kid is going to go and kind of maybe run onto a journey. Maybe they're not going to be like I don't know, an electrical engineer, structural engineer, mechanical engineer. Maybe not. Maybe they're going to go operate a backhoe for the rest of their life, which is not a bad thing. I grew up operating a backhoe. I loved it. My dad got so pissed at me that I wanted to work in a cemetery and operate a backhoe for the rest of my life. And I was like, but that's what I want to do. Well, you can't make any money. We can make money. You live in poverty and where I grew up. So, but it could have been a bridge to something else, right? It could be a bridge to you. It could be a bridge to somebody you know, or a child that you may know, or your child in their own right. For all you know, in 10 years, they may be able to operate the cranes that they use to, lift building pieces into skyscrapers. You want to talk about making $80,000 to $100,000 a year in the United States, at least in the South. That's big friggin' money, dude. That's massive. So don't give up on your dreams. If you like to do something, do it. Don't say no. Don't take no. Go do it. Find a way to make it profitable. If it's only $10 an hour, figure out what you can do to make more money. How can you make yourself self-sustainable and enjoy it? If it's what you like to do, do it. There was I think it was, I hate to make this reference. I think it was Scary Movie 4, maybe? I can't remember. It was after War of the Worlds came out with Tom Cruise, right? Tom Cruise in that movie was an operator of a large crane that moved crates from a ship to port and from port to ship, the giant big cargo ships. And in the movie, the parody movie, the guy was moving ships around and stuff like that or whatever. And then they had a scene where he was at an arcade kind of area and he was playing with the claw, like the animal claw crane type thing that you see at like Walmart or whatever. You see him in arcades. It's like, put in $1, €1 and see if you can get a prize. Anyway, I know that was major tangent, but it's been on my mind for a while. So, with that said, I think the price of $150 is a little steep, honestly. I think if it were, and I don't recall if this got a bump because of the price increase that Lego introduced, but $150 to me seems a little harsh. I don't like it at $150, honestly. I like it at $120. If it were to go to the Euro price, I'd be okay with it. This is something I really don't see staying on shelves for $150. I see Amazon taking a giant chunk out of this due to the sheer fact that I don't think these are going to sell very well. And the reason they're not going to sell very well is the price. And that's all there is to it. The fact that they are $150 and you could buy last year's Winter Village and have more of a build. You could buy a different Technic set with more pieces of similar intricacies for the same price is incredible. You could buy multiple Lego idea sets for the same price. You could buy multiple Lego City, multiple Harry Potter for the same price and get more. The question is the mechanical aspect to this with the pneumatics enough? Is that enough to be worthy of a $30 price jump from the $120 to $150 comparison to euro to dollars USD? Is it? My answer is no. My answer is no. And the reason I say that is this. They're all made where? They're all made in factories, right? You have to pay workers, whatever. There are no factories in the U.S. There are no factories in Canada. And yes, in the Czech Republic and Mexico, those are the factories. They are where they are sending the parts, or they are the part manufacturers. Mexican labor in actual Mexico is dirt cheap, regardless of COVID, regardless of, the current inflation situation. Labor is cheap. You already own the factory. You don't have to be like, oh, we have to give everybody a $20 an hour price raise. That's not how it works. And I would be willing to bet that is not what happened, even if it were like $2 an hour. So my point is, all these parts are made in those two locations, or those two main locations, maybe not in just those locations. And they're assembled. So why in the hell do I have to pay $150 to $120? Maybe I have a buddy like Tom Jurassic that lives over in Europe and can be like, I got you covered, dude. Don't worry about it. I'll ship it to you. And I could get multiple sets that are cheaper in Europe than they are here, aside from Harry Potter, sometimes Star Wars. But for the most part, most of that stuff is cheaper there, and he could get it for me and send me a big old box. Like, I'm saving up my pennies, saving up my allowance and everything, saving up my paychecks. And instead of buying a $150 set, I buy, 8 sets at that price from a buddy over in the UK or Germany or other parts of Europe, and they ship it to me. Yeah, I'll pay the shipping, because at day's end, if the shipping is $60, all I really need is 2 sets to break even. Everything else is I'm getting a discount. You see what I'm saying? And that's what bothers me. And I hate that everything is pinned on the market. I understand it's business. I absolutely get it. But I hate it. That is $30 is a big difference. If you're going Euro to USD, or let's say it's USD to USD, $30 is a big difference. Are you going to pay $30 more for something when you can get it for somewhere else? Here's a scenario. You go from one big box store to another, and the same product you're looking for. Let's say you're looking for an air mattress. Okay? Let's just be dumb. Let's say you're looking for an air mattress and you find it to be $70 in one and $100 in the other. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? I honestly think this is going to be a deterrent moving forward for a lot of people here in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. I don't know what the gross volume is that Mexico buys in sets as far as Lego goes, but I know Canada is up there. Canadian prices are higher than ours. That needs to be adjusted moving forward, because 150 to 800, just over 800 pieces is not worth it, in my opinion. If you're looking at it from a price point, it doesn't work. You can lay out the metrics all you want. It doesn't work. 18 cents price per part doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's expensive. So that's where Lego needs to get better. They need to look at their major markets, Europe, US, Canada, and they need to go from there. Because, like I said, the 30 jump, whatever you want to change it into, the 30 jump is not okay in my mind. It's asinine, to say the least. It doesn't work, and all it does is harm a consumer. Consumer's going to look at it and say, no. Maybe if it had a logo like Harry Potter or Star Wars, that changes everything. The fact that it is Technic is going to turn so many people away. And I guarantee they see these available on multiple websites outside of Lego. You're going to see it on Amazon. You're going to see it in Walmart. You're going to see it in Targets, the main ones here in the United States. You're going to see it. And I will tell you what, you're going to see a sale on it probably here in the next few months, especially when the holidays roll around, because they are not going to clear their inventory of those. And here's my challenge to you. The next time you walk into a big box store here in the United States, I want you to take note of the prices in the Lego aisle And if you see one of these 42144s, make sure you look at the price. Okay? It'll probably be $150, $149.99, or $149.98, like Walmart does all that crap. But my point is, if you look into it, check back to what it may be, especially when a sale comes. So let's say they take 30% off. Oh, yeah, I'm making a deal. Are you? You're making a deal rather than buying it from Europe and having it shipped. But are you? Or are you getting it for a decent price? Just my thoughts. I'm a very frugal Lego buyer. Always have been. I grew up not with the most money. You know, it was one of those things, you wait a year and a half for birthdays and stuff like that, and you hope when a card comes in the mail, you're like, please give me a 20, please give me a 20, please give me, crap, it's a 5. Still appreciative, just sucks, you know. As a kid, you're like, damn it, grandma from Florida. I don't have a grandma from Florida. I'm just using a generic here. Anyway, I do like the set. It is fun to play with, but I don't like it at $150. If you don't like the price, let me know. If you're somebody that is like, you know what, I really love this set. It is such a cool looking set and I need it, but I hate the price, let me know. Send me an email. Send me a social media message and let me know, because I can pass that on. Just groveling like, I don't like that. I can't do anything with that. Give me something specific that I can pass on to the Lego team. And I promise you one thing, it will get listened to. It always gets listened to. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's bet on it.